If you have a pet that likes to get out and about, on a leash of course, and he likes people, perhaps your pal might be up for helping give some much-needed comfort to folks who could really use some time with a furry bundle of joy. If that's the case, you and your pet might be ready for therapy training.
Therapy dogs are dogs who provide some sort of therapy, either physical or emotional, for people who have some sort of need. It can be as working with children and help them with reading. It can be in nursing homes with older people who just need the comfort of having a pet around. It can be doing physical therapy with people who have injuries who need some assistance working through those injuries. So they can provide all kinds of different therapy for people. Most any kind of dog can make a good therapy dog under the right circumstances. Individual dogs need to be assessed on an individual basis, but there are no specific breeds that I would exclude. That being said, there are certain dogs that have certain traits, for example, really drooly dogs, who are not always the best choice for therapy work, just because they're unpleasant necessarily for certain people to be around, and that is definitely a challenge. Mixed breeds as well as purebreds are always good choices, as are rescue dogs versus purebreds. Either one can do this if they have the right personality and temperament. High-bred, high-strung dogs can do this if you are willing to work and put in the work and the effort to help them understand when they can be high-strung and when they need to be a little calmer. They may take a little longer to train, and they may require a little more maturity before they're ready, but there's no reason to necessarily exclude a dog unless they have aggression problems or something like that for as an opportunity to do therapy work. That being said, also really shy dogs or dogs who are not real thrilled about being around people are probably poor choices. And that again is not necessarily a breed trait. That can be an individual dog, characteristic or temperament issue. So we don't necessarily want to exclude dogs based on any, breeds or size issues, but we do want to assess them individually and make sure that no matter what, that they're going to be comfortable working in an environment that can be chaotic. You start with your basic obedience, and that's where it all begins. So relationship building with your dog is your most important piece of the puzzle that you need to start with. If you don't have that strong base and that strong relationship with your dog, everything else after that is going to fall apart. So that's where you want to start. Getting that under your belt, making sure that you and your dog are up to snuff with all of your basics, are really strong, and that your dog is focused on you, and working on distraction training is where you need to begin. Once the owner and the dog have really strong basic obedience, we're then ready to get them started into more advanced training for therapy dog work. So, when they have that strong basic obedience under their belt, usually we look for canine good citizen skills. And then we're ready to start exposing them to things that they will experience in the therapy dog world. Things like hospital equipment, the noises that go on in hospitals, distractions that are going to take place in those environments, exposure to children if they are not already working with children at home or in other environments. That's really, once they have those strong basic skills, that's when we know they're ready to move on to the other stuff. We do lots of different things with dogs when we work with them in a therapy dog class in order to prepare them to do therapy dog work. Exposing them to a lot of the different equipment and things that they're going to encounter on different types of therapy dog visits are one of the things that we like to do with them. So exposing them to wheelchairs, crutches, walkers, IV stands, noises that they're going to experience in a therapy environment is one of the things that we do. The other thing that I really like to do with them during a therapy dog class is teaching a dog to actually pay attention to someone who is reading to them who is not their handler. A lot of times if your dog is so focused on you, which is one of the things that we teach them in the beginning, is to actually pay attention to someone other than their handler. So if I'm sitting here with my therapy dog while a child is reading to them, I want the child to feel like the dog is paying attention to them and not just focused on me. So we do try to teach the dog to look at the person who's reading. We reinforce that a lot so that they realize that the kid feels validated in their work. Teaching them to be comfortable being held by people in other situations, like in wheelchairs or in hospital beds. Those types of things are things we like to focus on. Working around other dogs and with other distractions. And the sky's kind of the limit there as far as what we can expose them to. But those are some of the basics. We like to make sure that owners understand, or handlers understand, that they need to keep their pets safe when they're on a therapy dog visit, and that is their number one priority. Everything else is actually secondary. So making sure that our dogs do not take things that they should not have, even when they're offered to them, which is really, really hard for a lot of dogs, especially if it's food and things like that. Children will want to offer dogs their chocolate chip cookies. People in nursing homes will want to give them bacon. You just don't know. People are just willing to offer them anything, candy, whatever it is. And not all of those things are very good for our dogs to have. So we do work on teaching the dogs not to take food that's offered to them. There are other things that they can do as well that we want to be concerned about, but that's one of the most important. I love working with people and dogs and helping prepare them to do therapy work because I know it's something that's really, really close to a lot of people's hearts and something that they want to do a lot. As for working with classes and students and handlers, just watching these dogs bloom and blossom and become what their owners hoped that they could be is a beautiful thing. And I really, really get a lot of enjoyment out of that and satisfaction out of seeing that come together. So if you think that your dog might be an excellent therapy dog, then there are several places you can go. You can check out your local positive reinforcement trainers. If they don't provide the training for you, they can most certainly point you in the direction of someone who can. Otherwise, you can also check with one of the many local organizations that certify dogs for therapy dog training. They can also either help you find the training that you need. And if you can't find any of that, or if your dog isn't truly the right type of dog for therapy work, there's still always great therapy for you.
That's all for this episode of Take Paws. I hope you learned something new today about caring for your pet. And don't forget to spay, neuter, visit, volunteer, and please, 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 please adopt a new friend from your local shelter.